So let's start with the agenda for today's AMA. So first of all, we would like to discuss upcoming app features, what's coming for February, what's coming for the next month, as well as future plans. Then we will go into more detail concerning staking. We will discuss how we envision that and the tech details as well, marketing plans, partnerships, and growth. And we will conclude with the standard AMA, so questions from you guys. So let's start with upcoming app features, and I will give the floor to Marius to discuss.
Thanks a lot. So let me tell you briefly what you can expect. I hope you have seen the roadmap already, most of you at least. If not, be sure to check out on it after this meeting. But let me briefly tell you what's coming very soon. And this is the buy move on the website feature. And this feature will allow you to buy a move without working on the slippage. So it will automatically detect slippage for you. You will be able to buy a move with BNB, BUSD, and USDT in the beginning. And this is the first step toward building the fully fledged Movex move exchange mechanisms. So this is one thing, and the other thing is that it's gonna solve a lot of problems with the conversion. So I'm not sure if you know, but a lot of people constantly ask for slippage. We know that a lot of people, not in this token, but in general in BSC or other token space decentralized exchanges, have often problems with determining how to buy a particular token, because of all the settings and so on. So we want to make it that simple. You can think about it as Apple for DEX. So it's going to be very, very simple and worry-free to buy Move first, and then in a couple of months also other tokens. So this is coming up next. You're going to see this in this very month. And so after that, we're going to have the staking. So staking will allow you to capitalize on the fact that you are a long-term holder, and you will be able to get a decent return depending on the tier of your commitment. So there will be flexible staking, and there will be different tiers of commitment that will give you better APY. You will be able to go ahead.
Let me add a few words to that. So concerning the upcoming features, so the very first iteration of Move Exchange, we will start with Move token, obviously. But why is this important? So one of our biggest goals here is to lower this entry barrier for new investors who struggle with buying any token, starting with BSC, but also Ethereum and other blockchains. Even currently, people who are familiar with PancakeSwap find it difficult to buy various tokens due to slippage difficulty, or there are some strange errors that happen. We want to totally solve that, and I think it's worth mentioning, as Marius has told us a second ago, that we will start working on the full version of the exchange next month, and this will be completed within the second quarter of the year. And this will be one of the most important features, lowering this entry barrier. So I really encourage you to also have a look at our docs. If you go to our website, there's a tab docs where you can go to the development roadmap and read everything in detail about that. But this is very important, and even this single feature coming this month will be very essential to increase the conversion rate. So we use Google Analytics and Hotjar to track how users behave on the website and so on. And we see that it's a very big problem for people to get to know how to buy Move and how to buy any token in general. So yeah, I think that's an important point, and we can come back to staking. So I will give the floor back to Marius to discuss that.
All right. So Thanks. I think this may be clarifying the overly technical speech. So that's a good point. Staking is, probably very well known in the crypto space. The idea is pretty simple. You deposit your tokens for flexible or some locked period of time, and then upon unlocking, you get more tokens. So it's like interest-bearing account equivalent in the crypto. A lot of platforms offer such thing, and so far it was not available in MarketMove in the Move token precisely, and now it's coming, and it will also replace the reflections feature. It will grant a better return than reflections, so that's definitely a good news for anybody that holds Move for the long term, that or plan to buy and hold the Move token for the long term. So that's one thing. So this very likely comes up next, but also there is a lot of potential voice from the community that they would prefer to see Movex rewards first. So just a quick recap: Movex rewards is an affiliate program where people can get bonus Move when they buy using a referral link, but maybe even more importantly, the promoters can passively receive Move if people sign up using their link. So I'm sure all of you have seen this mechanism in everyday e-commerce store things. So you have definitely seen this, but it's not that popular in crypto yet. Yet this is the feature that the single thing, I would say, most important that made Binance rise above the competition, and the competition was very steep. So with this, we can raise a number of holders and make it a viral process, so that even if there isn't a big let's say marketing campaign at the very moment, people can still use those referral links to promote MarketMove and get rewards on that. So organically, we can incentivize people to do the organic shilling. And if you, let's say, are an influencer with hundreds of thousands of viewers, then you can get a lot of Move in no time, and we can get a lot of holders. So this is also very promising thing. So we're still on the fence which one to go with first, and I think the community vote here will be very important. So we're gonna take this into consideration.
Yeah, exactly. Very well said. So we will most likely run a community vote on Telegram just to get to know from you guys which one would you prefer. So either to start with staking of Movex rewards. I think both are great. Staking will provide passive income here from Move for long-term holders, especially, but also for everyone with if they go with flexible one. But Movex rewards is also great, and this is really huge because I don't know of any project. Maybe there are some which have tried to implement this, but affiliate marketing here is really big because this is a direct incentive for people to promote the token. As if adoption and basically getting new holders is one of the very important, or maybe one of the most important, most essential factors for token and project's growth. So yeah, we will let you decide which one would you prefer. And moving on, we would like to also discuss marketing plans for the upcoming months and weeks. We are currently working on combining the organic approach with paid ads. I can give you more details first on the organic approach. So currently there are various platforms where we can get our exposure. This includes Reddit, Quora, YouTube, and so on, Twitter, obviously. So we have really intensified our efforts to gain more organic traction on these platforms. For example, on Twitter, we are much more active, and we want to increase this even further, since this is, let's say, one of the most important platforms here for organic growth and promotion. We will be also continuing with our posts for SEO, so basically for indexing on Google and other search engines. If someone would search for crypto and so on, just to be on top. But we are also exploring the most efficient paid campaigns. So we have to keep in mind to do this efficiently. So we are currently exploring different ad campaigns on a small scale, including Facebook, including YouTube, and we will then measure which one is the best, which one proves the best results, and then go with it on a bigger scale. Yeah, so basically here there's no rush. I think it's really important to emphasize that thinking in long term and thinking to really get the best out of it is very, very important, because, for example, when the market is down or side trading and the overall sentiment is worse than standard, so going with big, huge campaigns is just flushing the money down the drain, because let's call it, let's be honest here. So we don't want that. That's why we are acting here cautiously, trying to find the best thing. But basically, I think maybe we can also cover this in a moment in the next slide. But discussing marketing and discussing the growth potential. So we find it very important to not only go with the standard route of paid ads and so on. We've been also working hard on various partnerships. So this will come especially handy when we go with, for example, on-ramping, which is planned for this year, and some other features. We'll be able to deliver some features with, let's say, much faster and with much better quality than it would take normally, because the thing we are developing here, the thing we develop here is really, let's say, complicated from various points of view, and this will help us. So one of things here are also centralized exchange listings. I think it's worth to clarify, and it's worth to mention what is the strategy here. So obviously, listing on centralized exchanges, even if part of your value proposition is being at the centralized exchange, or one of the features, this still gives very big exposure. And you can also think of it, when you look on PancakeSwap or SushiSwap and other things like this, other projects like this. So we are working on that. We are currently, I think it's a very good thing. So we've been approved by one of the biggest centralized exchanges in the world. So it's within the top 10 centralized exchanges according to CMC. I cannot disclose the name yet, but since we've been approved, this should be going pretty fast now. And there's also another popular exchange you probably know of we are talking with. So within the few next weeks, we'll let you guys know what's the progress here. And yeah, I think that we are really excited that it's moving forward here. So this will very much likely give us great exposure to new holders, to new investors, as well as further increase the credibility of the project. Yeah, so before we move to the AMA session, I think I would also like to discuss one thing which I find essential. So in this project, so when we design utility features, when we think long-term and so on, it's very important to keep our head cool, to not rush with any decisions, because any decision we take brings long-term consequences. And this is basically a standard when running a business, just to make sure that you plan in advance, not like 1 month in advance, 2 months in advance, but several months in advance, or even years, planning the budget, everything. And some people have been concerned with the price. I would like to show you a few examples how it looked like for big projects which are, on the top now, let's say. So for example, for Terra, so for Luna, when they started, it was around, over $1, like $1.40, and so on. This was back in 2019. Then the project went to around here, like, 13 cents. So this was a huge drop, someone would say. Then, side trading, rising and so on. If you look at it, from today's perspective, it's just a flat line, so basically you wouldn't even be able to tell a difference between, this price or that price. Then, this was this rise to $20. It was more than 2 years after the project started. Then, last year it went to almost, I think, over $100. But this took time. So the same thing was for Cardano. Look at it, so they started back in, I think even before, but on CMC, they are tracked from 2017. Then there's the first rise, flat line, and the big rise last year. Also, even projects like Ethereum, we have billions of dollars budget, which are, the second largest crypto project in the world, basically. The first release was planned, or Ethereum 2.0 for 2019. We currently have 2022, and this is still something they are working on. And just to let you guys know that for us, as project developers, as the team who runs this, it's really important to have holders who really see the big picture, and this is how we can succeed. If we stay together, we move together, as we say. And I think it's really important, not to rush with any decisions. We want to make sure that we build solid foundations for the future. And this is also why we've decided to first focus on increasing the adoption, to gather bigger exposure, to get more people on board, then move with features which are, let's say, more laser focused, which are more appealing to the smaller group of investors. But yeah, that's just my view here. Maybe Marius, you would like to add something to that?
Yeah. This. I think this shows very well how zooming out really affects how we perceive things. Now think about this. Look at. Can you show the chart of Luna again, please? Because I think just showing on the picture may not really give it. But let's assume that you have bought back in 2019 for $1. If you sold in 2020, you would be at 90% loss. But if you held to 2021, you would be at 100 times profit. So that's how it works in crypto. And this is not to say that of course we're gonna have the same fate, that we're gonna have a massive drop and then massive up. It's, I mean, of course every token is different. Every cryptocurrency is different in specifics. But this is to say that we want to build a community that really focuses on the project. And we have said this a lot of time, but this time this is going to be emphasized even more in the chat, in how we discuss. So any short-term discussions about prices going up, going down, well, I would really like to avoid those because they don't really add anything to this. We will also not participate in such discussions because it simply doesn't make sense. It's good to see the big picture, what we're really building here, and to trust the process and think about how this is going to affect the global adoption, not just of Move, but in crypto in general. I mean, solving these problems that are at the very top of the funnel, let's say, that solving those problems will just drive a lot of people to crypto with Movex as their first step. So this is the mission. This is what we're aiming for, and we're literally aiming here further than the moon with this very vision. And having this in mind, I think we should take this moment to really zoom out and focus on what we're building here, focus on the features, on our progress in terms of adoption, in terms of then also the exchanges, everything like this. So this is the topic that we would like to discuss, and these are things that we would like to be discussed on the rooms. Basically, that's my 2 cents.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we don't want to chase short-term chart because this doesn't make sense. So we are not just a meme coin. We are building a product, and this takes time. And I think that support from both sides is really important here. But before we move to the AMA time, I would also like to discuss one thing that when discussing partnerships just a moment ago. So if you look at our development roadmap, so this is something we want to cover here as well. So this is, as the name suggests, development roadmap. So what we are building for marketing, this is something which is ongoing. This is something which we reevaluate on a daily basis, and including in the roadmap something like, okay, we are going with this or that influencer doesn't make sense. So this is a thing we are working hard on. So the marketing side of things, and partnerships. So things like listing on Binance and so on is still in the roadmap, and actually we are already in the process. And there's a form we are sending. We send documents, and for other partnerships, as I mentioned, we've just been approved by a top 10 centralized exchange. So I think this is worth mentioning. But let's move to the AMA. So we will take 5 questions from the community. So if somebody wants to ask us something, please raise your hand.
I wanted to ask something about the transition between the old roadmap and the new one. And I wanted to know if the old roadmap features were discarded or just postponed after the new roadmap is finished, like the stop loss and limit orders stuff. And well, I think on my head, I think this is something people is asking to themselves.
Sure. So we discussed this last time, but we will sure understand. We will sure answer this. So features were postponed. And the thing here is that we want to first build these solid fundamentals for bigger audience, let's say, so to lower this entry barrier to make crypto investing safe, as you know, with the AI safety audit, but also with the features which are in the current roadmap, so Movex, Change, Move Onboard, and so on. And then we will build on top of that. So this is worth clarifying that they were postponed, moved, but just the reasoning here is we've already discussed this, but basically to get the bigger adoption, to start with bigger adoption, because features, for example, like Presale Sniper, would target only a very, very small audience. And even, if you look at the current state of the market, this is pretty much not relevant anymore because, new projects which are legit, and I think even the smaller ones tend to start on launchpads. So, the more, for example, tokens you hold, the bigger chance that you can access a presale. And this is why we had to reevaluate that. So somebody said that, in crypto, one day is like 1 month or 1 year. And I totally agree. The market changes very rapidly. And that's why we've decided to go with this bigger adoption. And this also opens a lot of doors for investors, if we were to go for funding round or something like this. But just to wrap it up, so features were postponed. Neither of them was discarded, but the current roadmap is just to make sure that we start with really solid fundamentals and then build on top of that, not the other way around. Yeah. So thank you.
I appreciate your time. I guess my question deals with some of the regulation that we're facing worldwide. We all know that there's going to be some regulation that's going to change the crypto space. And I guess my question deals specifically with how MarketMove tends to navigate this. And one of the issues I had was with Indicoin, I wasn't able to buy it with Indicoin at the very beginning. And I know you guys are creating an onboard where you can use your credit card to buy not only MarketMove, but others as well. So I was wondering, how do you intend to kind of navigate these navigation or these regulation issues and allow people, no matter where they live, to buy it?
I think that's a very good one, and I feel I can take it. So yeah, the regulation is a big thing now. Well, in order to provide you with Movex onboard, we're gonna work with several partners that are doing the actual crypto, that are doing the credit card handling. So what we are making sure that we're during our screening process is that they have the regulation, the regulatory approvals to work in different countries, different jurisdictions. For example, I think the most difficult right now, except from those that completely banned crypto jurisdiction, is the United States, because you have different states, different regulations for different states. And the partner that we're in the most advanced stage, let's say, of discussions, can operate in the United States, and a couple of others also can do it. So basically, that's why we do not have to get the regulatory license ourselves, because we're gonna work with partners that will provide solutions that will already include those.
Yeah, I can add one more thing on top of that. So we are already incorporated, and these, depending on the state of regulations worldwide, we might decide to move to another country, like United Emirates, for example, or other country, just to be compliant. But for now, as Marius has mentioned, we are making sure that partners we are in contact with are compliant and can also operate in most of countries in the world. And I think that's a very important factor. So Ken, you've mentioned Indicoin, and that this is one drawback, that they don't operate in the US. But partners we are in contact with operate, I think, in like most of the states. So yeah, so this is the approach for now. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, man.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I was wondering for this for some time. So is there any plan in future to launch our own network, and maybe like since we have audit feature, like launcher, provide a platform to launch contracts which are already audited by MarketMove?
Sure. I guess you're asking about if you're gonna have a launchpad, right? This is the question.
Yeah.
Or a blockchain, because this is
and blockchain, own network,
Okay, so
got it. Okay, Michael, you wanna take this?
Yeah, sure. So not likely. Having our own blockchain, would be a single project to do that. So if you look at projects like Cardano or even Phantom, Avalanche, so this is the only thing they do, and this is why we won't go that route, because you can't have everything. This is as for the blockchain. As for Launchpad, this is something we can consider in the future, like the distant future, let's say. But I think there are already so many Launchpads that it wouldn't make sense to go that route. But speaking about the audit feature, so this is a good point. That first we want to further develop this feature, make it much more advanced. And also this can open new doors, for example, for let's say an additional revenue stream for new projects to get audited by us, to get a certified audit, just to have this additional revenue stream, and also for bigger adoption. So this is something we will consider to make this more advanced, to have a bigger adoption of this specific feature. But as for our own blockchain or launchpad, so this is not really the case here. As I mentioned, this would be, a single thing for a big project, just to do that. So, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so we have 2 more questions to take. So if you have anything, please raise your hand.
Yes, regarding the economics, about the reflections, any chance or in the future you will remove these reflections? Because I see these reflections as, they hurt the coin a little bit.
Okay, so maybe let's put it differently. Can we make reflections better? And the thing is, yes, we can. We can make them better by turning them into staking, and it will give you a bigger benefit, and it will not be depending on the volume. Because one thing, reflections are great, and we wanted to incentivize long-term holders. Also, well, anyone is incentivized by, like any holder is incentivized by reflections, but they do have a small disadvantage that may be not obvious at first, is that the amount of reflection is proportional to the volume on a given day. With staking, it's different. You know exactly how many extra moves you're gonna get after your staking lockup period. So that gives you a predictable way of measuring the ROI of your investment. This and also it's just more profitable, better, basically, and it will also allow us not to take the reflections from the tax. So only benefits here.
Okay, thank you. Because I see reflections helping the whales more than helping the medium to low-end investors.
Well, everyone gets the reflections proportional to their contribution, so they are pretty, let's say, equal in this matter. Obviously, in staking, the more you commit, the more you're gonna get, but relatively, everyone gets the same APY, the same percentage.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay,
all right, we got time for one more.
Yeah.
And let's go. We have 2 people, but we can only pick one. So this is unknown. You're now unmuted.
Hi, I have a question. When burning will end?
Never. Never. Well, every time there is the swap and liquify triggered, a small number of tokens will be burned, and that will continue to do so indefinitely. Though mathematically, don't worry, we're not gonna get out of the tokens, because the less tokens are in the circulation, then the less amount of tokens gets burned. So it does converge to 0, but it will. Well, the tokens still gonna be there, so don't worry about this.
Yeah, just one exception. So in the future, if there would be such a requirement by a very, very big exchange, for example, Binance, to turn it off, so we are capable of doing that. But if not, then this would be cool to continue that, because obviously when a token is deflationary or hyper deflationary, so the supply is lower and your holdings are worth more. So
basically, every time somebody sells, we burn a small amount of their sold tokens.
Yeah, for example. But if this is a requirement, we can turn it off. But if not, this is only a thing which benefits the token. So yeah. Okay, and
what do you think, guys? One more that question. Yeah. I think most people kind of knew that.
We can go with the last one, sure.
All right. Thanks. Everybody can thank me later. We got one more. We got to pick from 4. It looks like everybody's coming out late. But we have I Hodl You who asked first out of all these. So bring us a good one. You're now unmuted.
Hey guys, Michael, I got a question for you. You mentioned recently we've been approved by a top 10 centralized exchange according to CMC. Just a quick two-part question. One is, is it a top 10 by volume or by rank? The second question is, what does the approval actually mean with respect to the timeline? What is your anticipation for potentially getting listed on this top 10 centralized exchange? Thank you.
Sure, thank you for the question. So the first one, the exchange is top 10 by rank, but I think depending on the day, it's also in the top 10 by volume. I would have to check that, but I think you all know that. And the second thing, we've been approved. This means that we should be able to get listed within the 2 months period, let's say, maybe even sooner depending on the process, but yeah, this is how it works. So it's like let's say the almost the very last stage of the listing process.
Nice.
Yeah, Marius, you want to add something?
No, I just smiled.
Okay. Yeah, guys. So this would be that for the AMA part. If you have further questions, you can also write them in the chat. We'll try to answer a few of them. Also, our moderators are great. They are very knowledgeable, so feel free to ask anything. Yeah, and thank you very much for today's AMA. We will also share the presentation and the recording later on YouTube. So you will also be able to rewatch this, and for people who didn't make it, so this will also be very cool. Yeah, and have a great weekend, everyone. So thank you very much.
Have a great weekend, guys. Thanks so much for attending, and yeah, and thank you.
Now go and make a meme on our Reddit meme contest and win some Move.
Yeah, go visit our Reddit. We will be very happy to have a look at those memes because the previous ones were great. So yeah, thank you guys, and looking forward to that. Bye bye.